Welcome back to the Kid Tarot. Really quick message for my Earth Angels and my Earth Warriors. Your sense of stubbornness, it's been frustrating you lately because you feel like when allergies come out to me, you feel like your stubbornness, it gets in the way. Sometimes it gets you in trouble. Sometimes I'm just hearing this isn't that. The past is not a prediction of your future. Your stubbornness is actually a divine trait. There are certain things that you're designed, is the word that I'm hearing. You're designed to be stubborn about. The issue is just, again, because we may or may not have been raised with any real training on your spiritual self. You may get confused, you may get frustrated with yourself about some of your qualities that are actually divine gifts. So because you guys are here on this particular mission to see these angelic frequencies, these higher forms of thought, these higher forms of emotion, you have definitely been challenged, right? Because you're coming in with something new that nobody else in your particular area is doing. You probably have a big, deep reputation for that, for thinking outside the box, for having the naive idea or the pie in the sky idea, and you can get really stubborn about it. And it makes for challenges because you'll argue, right? You'll fight to the death is what I heard. You'll fight to the death. You'll argue with these things. And so you may have recently, not recently, you have experienced some changes in relationships and losses of friendships recently, but this is more so about your history. So you may be questioning, maybe nothing from this Monology deck. You may be questioning, that's nothing set in stone. Maybe this is just more clarification than anything else, but you may be frustrated with yourself about losses that you've had in the past. I'm really hearing this for friendships. There may be friendships that you, or you may have a history of like having these really close or deep relationships or friendships, and they fall away and you start over is what I'm hearing. And you start over. And so with this recent exodus of folks, or this upcoming exodus of folks, you may have a tendency to want to apply what happened in the past to where you are now. You need to acknowledge your growth as a person, that you are not the same person that you were when you were making those decisions in the past. Like, this is not that. 8 of Wands came out in the reverse. It says delay, holding off, frustration, being forced to move. They're gonna be especially because of your stubbornness, is the reason why you're gonna be why you're gonna have to be forced. Spirit is gonna create particularly the moon is what I'm hearing. So you definitely pay attention to the moon cycles if you're not already looking at that, because you may find a pattern to what occurs in your life. The next cards that came out were the Star in reverse. So pride, loss, theft, disappointment, despair, arrogance. And I really feel like this is around arrogance and pride. Your arrogance and your pride may be blocking you, and it may be why Spirit is having to force particular situations for you to face those blocks. And then Hermit card in the reverse, isolation, loneliness, exile, hastiness. So I'm hearing red light, green light. Like over the last few weeks or last few months, it's felt a lot like red light, green light. Like things will start to happen and you're feeling this like really immense momentum, and then that red light is all of a sudden in front of you and you have to hit this like hard stop is what I'm hearing, like hard stop. So there's going to be a hard stop on some things for you. Try not to let the frustration delay you in the movement. It's where you need to go. Don't let your pride get in the way. And then the last card that popped out was the Seven of Wands. Alienating others. What do we talk about? Alienating others, losing the battle, being your own worst enemy, giving up. So letting that pride get in your way, having that spiritual loss. We talked about that in, I think, a previous reading today. There's a great sense of feeling overwhelmed. Call more of yourself to this particular situation. You absolutely have all of the tools that you need to be successful in this thing. And I just keep wanting to repeat it, that your past is not a prediction of your future. Even the skills, the talents that you have, may have put a negative connotation on because of the way that you allow for situations to take place in the past. This is not that. There's been a lot of growth. I'm feeling called to pull this card back out. There's been a lot of growth. You're not the person that you were when you had those falling outs, or when you quit those jobs, or when you failed that program, or when you gave up on that business. You're not the person that you were. And quite honestly, whatever occurred then, everything moving for you is divinely led. So it hurts and it may be difficult to take a look back at negative events and say that was for my highest good. But Spirit is asking you to have that level of faith now. Have that level of faith now. Have that level of faith now. You're going to be asked to move, and you're going to want to do so expeditiously is what I heard. Like, you're going to want to answer that call. You're going to want to be swift about it. And you may feel some resistance because you may feel that it was your haste or your impulsiveness or your stubbornness, your obstinance is what created negative situations for you. But that is not accurate. That's not the full truth is what I'm hearing. And you're not that person. You're more able to discern when to apply those angelic gifts is what I'm hearing. When to apply those gifts. And let's be honest, it is a gift. To be able to be stubborn, especially in these days where bullying and harassment, all these things are coming at you. It's hard to maintain your truth. It's hard to stand alone when you want to be a part of the crowd, but that is literally part of your being, and it will not always be like that. Trouble doesn't last always is what I heard. You won't always be standing here by yourself doing this work. If you watch the previous video, strategic partnerships are being brought in. Spirit is gonna support you. Spirit is not putting you into negative situations just for the sake of watching you and figuring, like throwing you into the pool just to see if you can swim. Spirit knows that you can swim. Spirit knows not only can you swim, but that you're actually an expert level swimmer. You're an Olympic level swimmer. You just don't remember. So go ahead, put on your suit. Do what you know to do with confidence, right? So put on your bathing suit, get all your goodies, go to the pool, get in the water. You will find, after a few strokes you may struggle, but you will find you will be infinitely successful, and you have talents and gifts that you have no idea about. That are getting ready to be unpacked and unloaded for you. The change is imminent. The change is great. We see here again, I just feel called to pull this. I left this up in my altar today, but from a previous reading, but power over 7 Scorpions. You are being initiated into the magic of conjuring, so as to have power to affect lower vibrational forces through your own will and spoken word. That didn't used to work in the past always, right? Sometimes you would try to speak life into something, or you would try to defend something, and your word was not always enough. Spirit wants you to know, actually, yes, it worked in your favor the way that it needed to work at that time. You're being increased at this time. You are guided to use this powerful gift with compassion and discernment, with mercy and non-judgment. And I think this is where us Earth Angels are getting really caught up right now. It's very hard for us to stop the negativity, to stop the judging of others, to stop the judging of ourselves. Spirit wants you to know that you're going to have to operate with these gifts from a space of non-judgment. You can then manage any toxicity in your life swiftly and with great effect. So rather than you being able to hold on to all this negativity and have to deal with these things and have to move through these lessons, you're going to find that blockades, barriers, boulders is what I heard, will move with so much more ease. You will have the strength, I'm hearing, of 1,000 men. I hope that this reading helped. And thank you again for all of the, I do really feel much like for all the ascended masters that are working to call on us at this time. It feels very much as if they're saying, brother, sister, do you remember me? Do you remember me? Do you remember yourself? So spend some time, go within, do some meditation, maybe a nice walk outside today. And if you feel overwhelmed by that, just do so in your home. Just take 5 minutes and go within. And even if it's just as simply as saying thank you to yourself for everything that you have brought yourself over, for all of the challenges that you have brought yourself through. Nothing is set in stone, yet you are not finished. I love you guys. Peace, love, light, and blessings to everyone.